When Palesa married the man she loved, she knew she would be living with his widowed mother. What she didn't know was that every time she left for work, someone would secretly enter her heart. In the Free State, families are built close together. A son belongs to his mother, a wife belongs to her husband, and sometimes love is trapped between the two. After the death of his father, Katleho remained behind as the only man of the household. Tradition would not allow him to leave his mother alone. So when he married Palesa, his new marriage entered an old home already carrying grief. Palesa arrived in the Molefe home with respect in her heart. She woke before sunrise, cooked meals, fetched water, and tried her best to honor her husband's mother. But no matter how hard she worked, it was never enough. Molefe had buried her husband only 2 years before, and deep inside her grief, she feared losing her too. Molefe began watching every little thing. The way Palesa cooked, the way she spoke, the way Katleho smiled around her. To everyone else, she looked like a concerned mother, but inside her heart, jealousy quietly began growing. Palesa worked as a community health worker. Sometimes she traveled to nearby villages for 2 to 3 days at a time. Each time she left, Molefe felt relief. The house belonged to her again. Whenever Palesa left for work, Molefe entered the young couple's hut. At first, she only looked around. Then, she began taking things. A blanket, a dress, small groceries, even private letters. She never asked permission. In her mind, everything in the homestead belonged to her. But the deeper truth was harder to admit. Each item she touched made her feel powerful again, like she still controlled the home. The control did not end with missing items. Molefe criticized nearly everything Palesa did. If the food had too much salt, she complained. If Katleho laughed loudly with his wife, she interrupted them. Sometimes she entered their hut without knocking. Sometimes she would rearrange their belongings while Palesa watched helplessly. And other times, she reminded Palesa that she was still only a makoti inside someone else's home. Whenever visitors arrived, Molefe helped herself to the young couple's groceries. Yet when Palesa asked about the missing items, the older woman accused her of being selfish. One afternoon, Palesa noticed something familiar. The shawl wrapped around Molefe's shoulders belonged to her. It was the same shawl she had searched for weeks earlier. Later that night, she discovered even more of her missing belongings stored inside the older woman's room. In that moment, confusion turned into certainty. Palesa approached her mother-in-law carefully, not with anger, but with respect. "Mama," Palesa said, "I noticed some of my missing things in your room." The atmosphere changed immediately. Hela! Oh, so now you count every spoon in this house? Molefe replied. Palesa tried explaining that she only wanted honesty, but Molefe turned the conversation into an accusation. She claimed the younger woman was disrespectful, ungrateful, and too proud. Katleho arrived in the middle of the argument, and once again he found himself trapped between the two women he loved. Palesa wanted her husband to defend her, and Molefe wanted loyalty from her son. And Katleho feared hating either of them. So instead of solving the problem, he tried to calm everyone down. "Patong, Butleng, let us not fight," Katleho injected. But peace built on avoidance never lasts. To his mother, Katleho, he promised understanding. To his wife, he promised change. But deep down, he still lacked the courage to set boundaries, and both women could feel it. At first, Palesa doubted herself. Maybe she had forgotten where she placed her things, but the disappearance continued. Each trip away from home ended the same way. Something was always missing. And slowly, peace began leaving the marriage too. Katleho loved his wife, but he also loved his mother. And like many sons raised to never question their elders, he remained silent. He hoped the problem would disappear on its own. But silence does not heal the wounds. It only gives pain a place to grow. One afternoon during a community gathering, Ememolefe embarrassed Palesa in front of other women. She complained that modern wives spend too much time away from home, too much time working, too much time chasing independence. Palesa stood quietly, but inside, her heart was breaking. That night, Palesa finally spoke honestly. She told her husband she no longer felt like a wife inside the home. She felt like a visitor, a stranger, a woman constantly watched and controlled. And for the first time, Katleho realized how deeply his silence had hurt her. Palesa did not leave because she stopped loving her husband. She left because her spirit was tired. Before leaving, she spoke words Katleho would never forget. Love cannot survive where there are no boundaries. Thank you so much for being with me in episode 1. Stay tuned, subscribe, and follow for episode 2.